Hey, what's up, guys? So Brandon, for for people just tuning in, Brandon was showing the entrance music by Onkonsky, right? Is that it?
Onkonsky?
So the guys here interviewed him, I guess, when that came out, maybe a month ago. But it got really good reviews.
Yeah, it has a lot of, it has a lot of elements of a lot of the era. I love the early to mid '70s is kind of one of my favorite time periods. Probably, like, if I had to pick, like, if I could pick 10 years, I'd pick 65 to 75. That would be
Very cool.
where I would pick. So this has like a lot of elements of '70s, moody, Trieste, sad jazz, and it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful, and it also has like those driving elements that you hear a lot in '70s jazz. That's just kind of constantly moving and with a lot of space. And I really liked this record. I guess I hadn't put it on. I thought, when I looked at it, when Donald lent me a bunch of other records, I thought this might be like an ambient record or something, but it's definitely a jazz record.
I just pulled it up. It looks like there are only 9 remaining copies on his Bandcamp. So the last bit of, I guess, this run, if you're interested in it, Felipe,
I probably shouldn't have showed this because
well, 9 people can get it. So
no, I don't have it yet. This isn't my company.
Oh, sorry.
So now I'm sorry.
Is anyone distributing it through like traditional ways of getting it or no?
I think so, because it's being put out. Who's producing it, Brandon? Does it say on the back? I don't see it.
It is Colamine Records.
Yeah, Coal Mine.
Yeah. Sorry.
Coal Mine.
Working in a coal mine.
So Rob, does Coal Mine distribute only through Bandcamp, or are they? Do you know if they're?
I don't know. There's one way. There's one way to find out. You shared the link.
Yes.
Let me click on the link and search for the name, unless some smarter person out there did it already.
Come on, folks. Beat Rob. There's a 7-second delay, though, so he has a 7-second head start on it.
I'm not even trying. I'm acting like I'm doing it.
Well, let's forget about this. Let's forget about this record in case I want to get it.
Well, that's cool. Felipe picked up a copy and loves it. So he said it's
really nice. A lot of people have been showing it. So, look, if it sells out, it would say to me, make more.
Hopefully.
I like it.
You never know, though. Sometimes with small groups,
Mike says that
be able to.
Okay, there you go. He beep boop booped before me.
Okay.
The sound is good, and it's also on this cool swirled orange vinyl, which is kind of fun.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyway, I thought I'd show, if it's okay, I just thought I'd show my favorite Cecil McBee records.
That is absolutely okay.
But he's on every record because I
know you can show like 200 records.
I just cleaned and listened to a double record that he's on.
Yeah, I'm just picking my favorites. I have a ton of records that he's on, but for his solo, it's Mutima.
Okay.
Or did you guys ever ask him how it's said?
No, we didn't get to that era just yet.
I would assume it's Mutima.
I usually say Mutima.
You traded me that. You traded me your Pure Pleasure version.
Yeah, when I got this is an OG, and I traded you my Pure Pleasure, which sounded great too. Actually,
there's an Oscar Pettiford bass-led record that has a similar cover where they do an outline of.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's funny that's been used like numerous times. It's
a great the bass face. Yeah, I think it's also like one of those like psychological tests, right? Do you see the face or do you see the face? Here, this is Compulsion.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I have the stereo and mono of that.
I just have the mono, but aren't they going to release this as a Tone Poet or no?
No. They're releasing Andrew. I don't know if they would ever, because to me, in my limited knowledge of everything, that's free jazz.
It's close. It's some of it
crazy, is. That's crazy shit for Blue Note. I don't know.
Blue Note, it is crazy shit, and some of it is free jazz, but not all of it. Not every track.
No, but I mean,
But yeah, it might be too much. But I mean,
it's not a hard listen, but for Blue Note, that's free jazz.
For Blue Note, it's out there. It's avant. Let's say that. But
More
it's really
than-
good.
Yeah, but it's good. Yeah, no, I'm not.
And I don't think it's that weird.
And
It's not as weird as like,
and it's not
it's
a
not
cheap
like
record.
Braxton or Eiler or
No,
stuff like that.
And
And it's
John
not-
John Gilmore's on there, which is interesting because he was on Blown In from Chicago with Cliff Jordan
Right.
back in like the 1500 era.
Right, which
and
is a
then
total hard bob
total
blowing session. Whatever copy you have, it's also, with the exception of one track, it's also, I have the Japanese version, which is
Soul.
no,
Soothsayer? It's not
no,
Soothsayer.
the Collector. The Collector is the name of this on the
But it
Japanese
came out.
version.
Didn't it come out as an LT? It didn't come out as an LT.
It did. It's an LT.
It did. It came out as an etc.
Okay.
And it looks like a Videodrome on the cover.
Yeah.
It's weird. There's a bunch
But
of TVs.
around the same time, the Japanese version's different and a better cover, I think. No,
The Japanese is, yeah, it's called the Collector, but it has one different. I'll find it here. Sorry.
I think I have a copy of the Collector somewhere.
See, this
Yeah,
is
those
the same
LTs are
record.
all getting expensive. Like
This is the
$40.
same record, except the first track, instead of being, the first track is the Collector instead of etc. So it doesn't have etc. It has the Collector, but the four other tracks are exactly the same.
Yeah.
So they
same
switched
stuff.
one track.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is kind of weird. But so instead of etc., it has the Collector, but then it's exactly the same. Penelope, Toy Tune. Oh no, wait. Indian Song, Barracudas. There's two differences. Oh no, etc. is on this as well. The difference is the Collector is instead of Penelope. Does that make sense? Sorry.
Yes. Yeah.
So
that's
etc. is on both of these, but Penelope is not on this one.
Okay. And that's a 65 session.
Yeah. And it's fantastic. And this, I mean, I would say this is up there with Juju and Speak No Evil as far as I'm concerned. So I like it just as much, maybe more, because I didn't hear it for a while, you know? Like I heard it later. Because I had bought like the classics first, and I didn't know that etc. was so great. And then I picked up the LT and I was like, oh wow, this is really good. You know what I mean? Like I found it at a different time. I knew to look for Juju and Speak No Evil because I knew they were great, but I didn't know etc. was great. So it really, I dug it. This is fantastic. I still need to get the tone poet of this.
I think I have an old one of that. I think I need to get the tone poet. Yeah,
I need to get the dome poet for the. I'm sure it'll sound better. This is a Van Gelder Black Bee.
I think I have the same. I think I have the same one, Brandon.
But I really want to get
mine's a West Coast pressing. Doesn't have Van Gelder.
Yeah, mine has a Van Gelder. You know, but I want to get the photos, the extra photos, and all that stuff. And I'm sure Kevin Gray will kill it. You know, yeah, exactly. It's time.
Boom.
So this is cool. This is OG.
You don't have the tone poet of it?
I do have the tone poet as well, so I have a stereo.
Very nice.
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't resist. That's back when tone poets were $27. So
that's a Reed Miles cover, I'm assuming?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, just fonts.
Yep.
The king of fonts.
He had some great ones with Jackie and just fonts.
Oh yeah. Right Now is also just fonts, which is my favorite.
And
Let
Freedom Ring is pretty badass too.
That's awesome.
Yeah, this is an awesome record.
Yeah.
Totally great. Yeah, I can't say enough about this record. It's almost like it almost feels more like a Terra Masahino record than a Hal Galper, but you know, he is writing a lot of this. I think.
It made me almost wanted to change my hat to a bucket hat.
Yeah, Galper writes most of the records, so it is deservedly his. But I feel like Tara Masahino steals the show on this. This
Cool.
is my favorite Brackeen.
Oh,
Just a trio record.
that's in my next auction. I have one in my auction.
Yeah, they're dirt cheap, dude. They're so inexpensive. I think I used to have 2 of these, and I gave one away as a gift. Just kept, and they were both pretty much mint. I might still. I don't know. I might still have 2 of these.
Am I right? I think it was reissued by Candid in the last couple of years.
Okay. Well, I mean, the original sounds fine, and they're what, $6, $10?
They've gone up. Her stuff is going up, but it wasn't that.
I mean, it should. It really should be more than that. So, but you can still find them. I think I found this with still in the. This is the other one. I found one still in the shrink. I must have another one of these. But this is my favorite Brackeen. It's just a trio, and I like this more than what is the Antiquity or.
Well, the one with Joe Henderson is my favorite, but
which is really good. I actually was playing the Joe Henderson and this today, but this one's my favorite. And this one has Cecil McBee. The other one I think is Eddie Gomez.
Yeah. Ancient Dynasty. This one.
Yeah, that one's fantastic.
Yeah,
but I still like Snooze better.
I think she did a bunch. She did a few with Cecil and with Eddie.
Yeah, there's another one called Shikala or whatever with the Brecker brothers that has Cecil McBee and Billy Hart. This is really great.
That's an expensive record.
Yeah, I was about to say that's a tough one to get.
Yeah, it is now.
It's like $100 record.
This is also one of the very few Renee McLean records.
I would not spend more than $100 on it.
Yeah, I bought this for $50, but this was a while ago, and it was in the shrink too. It's just the shrink was kind of beat up. It had never been played. You can see the,
Yeah,
I want that. That's like the one Woody Shaw I do not have.
Yeah, it's good. It's as good as Moon. What's the one?
Moon
Blackstone Legacy.
No.
Yeah. No.
Moon.
Moon.
Not moonlighting, but
No. Moon. It's his song he wrote. He performs on other records too.
Yeah. Moonscaping.
Moonscape. That's not a cheap record either.
Not Moonscaping. I'm joking. And this is a really good one. That's still. I think this is still a bargain.
This one.
Yeah.
Moon Train. The
Moon Train is fantastic. But Cecil McBee's not on Moon Train.
That is good. And Braxton's on that too, which is double badass.
Yeah, and this isn't Weird Braxton. This is totally
And I think Woody Shaw's only on one of them is actually only on 3 tracks. I forget which one it is.
I'm trying to remember.
I think it might be Woody Shaw. Or maybe, I don't know.
No. Woody Shaw's on every track.
Maybe it's Braxton then.
Braxton's only on 1, 2, 3. Braxton's on 3 tracks. Shaw is on every track.
Yep.
Anyway, those are kind of the ones I picked out. I have a lot of Cecil McBee records, but those were the 3 these were the handful that I was going through, and I was like, oh, let's find the ones where I'm like, oh, this is a super exceptional record.
I didn't know you were going to show those, and I actually had just cleaned and listened to this. This is totally cheap heat. If you do not have this record, you should go get it.
I have.
LP. So it's the core group is McCoy Tyner.
Yeah, and there's a different horn player on every track.
Well,
or Bobby's on it too.
And he's a guitar player, John.
And John Abercrombie. Yeah, that's a great record. I picked up like a mint copy of that a couple years ago for $5.
Yeah, this is cheap heat. If you see it, grab it. It's so
all of those. McCoy Tyner has so many good records that are dirt cheap on.
Yeah.
This was by far my favorite.
That's very good. This is recorded by Rudy, but it's mastered by George Horn, who did the Milestone stuff.
And also, just this record is it's probably more. This is probably now more than $10, but
between 10 and 20.
Yeah.
Yep.
For what you get McCoy Tyner, Bobby Hutcherson, Gary Bartz, Azar Lawrence, Buster Williams, and Willem Hart, and Mtume, and Guilherme Franco. Like, it's one of the best lineups you can get. And this is my favorite of the Tyners. So if you want to talk about cheap heat, this record is still dirt cheap. I just saw a copy for $10.
It goes between it's between 10 and 20. It might be more.
Yeah, I think it depends on who's pricing it too, because some people just price things as if they've seen it a billion times. They price it what they think of it is. You know.
I have some Cecil McBee stuff to show.
Oh, cool! And I'm sure okay, cool.
So this I have this lead record by him.
Yeah, I want that.
I have the Strata East one and this, and I think those are the only two. This is the Indian Navigation.
Yeah, he has a couple others.
So Don Pullen, Chico Freeman. He played a lot with Chico Freeman.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Gardner on trumpet, Alan Nelson drums, and this guy, I can't get his name right. It's Famodu Don Moye percussion.
Yeah, I think you can just say Don Moye.
Don Moye.
Okay. All right. And he has a Brahms quote on the back.
Oh, that's cool.
That is cool. So it says, all true inspiration comes from God, and he can reveal himself to us only through that spark of divinity within, though what modern psychologists call the subconscious mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I want to get that. How do you like that one?
It's excellent. It's really good.
And that's original ESP, or is that on India?
Indian Navigation.
ESP, India.
Yeah. It's
and I can't remember, is he on the Out from the Within, Chico Freeman? Does McBee play on that?
He probably does. I was going to show, I have a couple of him with Chico Freeman. This one's my favorite, I think, Kings of Mali.
Oh, yeah.
This one's excellent.
That has singing on it, right?
I don't think there's vocals.
Or is that, am I thinking of a different one?
It's a different one.
Yeah, no. So this is Chico Freeman, who plays tenor, soprano, flute, alto flute, African balafone. Jay Hoggard is vibes and African balafone. Cecil McBee, Anthony Davis piano, and Don Moye drums and sun percussion, and some other things, gongs. But this one's very good too. Another Indian Navigation, worth looking out for. This is a Abdullah Ibrahim.
Yeah.
So this one is excellent. It's put out on Abdullah Ibrahim's label.
Yeah, I have that one too.
Which is, what is it called? It's called Ekapa. And the record is called Ekaya, which means home. And as a bunch of people on here, they do put a picture of Rudy, which I thought was interesting. So that's
just
cool.
Hanging out.
Yeah. And yeah, so there's a bunch of people. So Carlos Ward, alto flute, Ricky Ford, tenor, Charles Davis, baritone, Dick Griffin, trombone, Cecil McBee, bass, Ben Riley, drums, and Abdullah Ibrahim, piano. So this one I don't think is too expensive. It's worth worth checking this one out for sure.
$10 to $12.
Yeah. And it's from, I don't know if there's a year on here. I'm not sure the year, but.
By the way, Cecil McBee is on this.
Yes. Yeah, that is good.
And this, I would have picked this one if I had thought about it.
Yeah, that is a great
one. This is probably my favorite Chico Freeman.
I think that was my first Chico Freeman record.
Although that one on
Contemporary?
On Contemporary, but the one, what is it, December, or what's it called? I'll find it.
Chico Freeman, December?
No. It's in Freeman, so I can find it.
You got it?
Yeah. Beyond the Rain.
Yes.
This record is phenomenal. And I still think it's
so good.
Definitely gone up.
How dare you?
It's definitely gone up, but this is This one and that one I just showed on Indian Navigation are my favorite. And this has Elvin Jones on drums, Junior Booth on bass, Hilton Ruiz on piano, and Yuma Santos on percussion. But this is a really, I don't think this gets enough attention.
It definitely doesn't.
It's
Rob, how much does that go for, Rob?
Which one? That one?
Yeah.
There's two versions. I mean, there's an original, but OJC reissued it. So you can get the OJC affordably.
Okay.
This is the original, but I don't think it was very much. Yeah, it's weird that they did them so close together too.
Yeah.
Because it's like late 70s and then early 80s is the OJC.
Yeah.
But Contemporary had something with OJC where they did that a lot.
Yeah, well, yeah, because they were fantasy. So I guess, I don't know, actually. I'm not sure, because that copy you have is not a fantasy copy. That's still...
yeah, this is a Contemporary, not an OJC. So whenever this came out, this is
I don't know what their decision was, but there were a lot of Contemporaries. The ones that you can find usually are early 70s or
60s.
Oh, no. Well, obviously the original, that didn't come out in the 60s. But usually you can find early 70s pressings, and then you find kind of late 70s.
Yeah,
I see. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I know what you mean. You mean
late-
the second Contemporaries.
Well, hold on.
Yeah.
Those late 70s, early 80s are done kind of the same as the OJCs. And I think they just, maybe when they were like repressing, let's just make this an OJC.
Well, I think what happened is, I'm pretty sure that Lester Koenig sold Contemporary and whatever else he had to Fantasy, and I think Fantasy hired him on. I think Koenig continued with his catalog, I think, and that's why he probably selected that for OJC, because it's his stuff.
But there's just a ton of OJCs from the early 80s that are, Hampton Hawes, and there's just a lot of them, Harold Land.
Yeah. And those 70s second pressings, they do have LKS in the dead wax, so Lester Koenig stereo or whatever it means. So they're proper Contemporary records, although they do feel like they're pressed like a fantasy.
They're thinner.
80s. They're very similar, and the sound quality is great.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I have a Benny Golson in New York, the OJC, that sounds perfect.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. They are excellent. Hey, Dave.
Hey, Dave.
Good evening, gentlemen.
If you have this probably, but if not, you should. And it's
What
cheap.
Is
It's Chico Freeman, Beyond the Rain on Contemporary from like, when's it from? 70?
Probably early 70s.
78.
Never
78.
seen that record,
It's fantastic.
believe it or not.
It's fantastic.
And Hilton Ruiz is on piano, and I know him from something else.
I actually just sold a Chico Freeman record. I took a stack into Lunchbox. It was the an early Analog Productions of Spirit Sensitive or Spirit, whatever it is.
I have that version.
It's a good sounding record. It's just I don't know. I just wasn't into that one. But when I got it, it wasn't cheap when I bought it years ago. So that one was probably a good trade.
He repressed it.
Did he?
He means
Last year.
Yeah, but the original's expensive too. It's like $100 record.
Yeah, the original, and then that version I had was no slouch.
Yeah,
I mean, I got good money for it.
It's basically them doing standards, right?
I think Cecil's on that record too. Cecil McBee's on that record.
So, all right, I have two more to show. This was a Notes and Tones recommendation I got a while back. Prince Lachey. This has Herbie Hancock, Cecil McBee. So these guys were playing on those blue notes you were showing, Brandon.
I know.
Jimmy Lovelace on drums. So quartet on this. And this is originally Enja, and I think...
Well, it was a recorded in the 60s, and then Enja reissued.
And Inner City.
But it's Inner City. But so Inner City didn't just reissue Steeplechase. I think they had their own stuff, and they did some Enja stuff, and I think I have some other...
They did East West stuff, some Japan labels.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes.
So they did a number of things. So, but they pressed good records. So
Mhm.
whatever.
No, I have quite a few. Like I have an inner city Enja, Malwaldron. That's an inner city.
Yeah.
They really did all of the steeplechases, I think.
What is this? This is an inner city Pepper Adams, but this was originally released on
Japanese, no.
Yeah, I forget what it is. It doesn't say it on the back here. But
What's the title?
it's Pepper Adams, and it's called Julian.
Yeah, I've seen that a bunch of times.
It's a live record.
This is total cheap heat. It's probably like $5.
Yeah.
Definitely worth getting.
There's a lot of Pepper Adams that's good deals.
Pepper Adams baritone, Walter Norris piano, George Mraz bass, and Makaya Soyoko on drums. And it's recorded in Munich. Oh, it's an Enja. It's originally Enja.
Okay.
So, yeah, so they put out some Enjas, and then, yeah, that's pretty much it. And he is also on this, too. Cecil McBee is also on the Moon
No,
Train.
that's a great record
I
right
thought
there.
it was like Richard Davis or something for some reason.
Oh, maybe I'm wrong. It is Cecil McBee on bass, and is somebody else on bass? Buster Williams is also on bass.
Oh, Buster Williams. Okay, I should have put that one out. For some reason, I thought that was like somebody else on it.
They don't play
That's one of my
together.
favorite Woody Shaws.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Buster Williams plays on the first two tracks, and then Cecil McBee's on the rest of it. And this is produced by Michael Kuskuna. Did he produce a lot of the Muse records?
He produced everything.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
He did.
You know who produced this?
Michael
Everything.
Kuskuna.
Oh, Kuskuna.
No, or Keep News. But no, actually, but no, seriously, Michael Kustuno's on a lot of shit.
No, I know he's a legend, but that would be a good like video to do, like a Kuskuna review. He did a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, he's responsible for bringing out a bunch of those LTs that were
that's right,
scrapped.
Yeah, yep.
And
not all of them though.
No, but it is pretty cool because otherwise we wouldn't have those. Well, I guess except for the very few Japanese ones, like the Soothsayer and Oblique, where they were like, because those were found by King Japan. They were like, how could these not be? Because Oblique was never released as an LT.
That's a Hutcherson LP, right?
Yeah. It's my favorite too. It's so good.
I've still never found that one. I've got the other one. I got Soothsayer.
Yeah, just get the Tone Poet.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just don't buy a lot of Tone Poets. I think I might have two. And one was given to me.
Yeah, I mean, I have both, but there was a time period where I was so into King Japan because of the quality and the deals you could get. Yeah, I have that.
Yeah.
That's a pretty cool cover.
It's a great cover.
So this is the first pressing, Japan 1979, and there are a number of copies available. Anything in the U.S.? One in the U.S., and they want $225. Let's see how much they go for in Japan. 100. So you can get it probably for $125.
Yes,
they
just
weren't-
get the Tone Poet.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can find mine.
So we're big on Obi strips here now, Rob. So if you want the Obi, you could pay another $80 and get the Obi.
Oh. Yeah, Soothsayer, I have this one.
Yeah.
With these bad covers.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
this
cool,
one
though.
isn't too bad.
Yeah.
This is pretty cool.
All right, let's see it. Nice.
So, and this was back when you could get Kings for. This one might have been $35, but you could get Kings for $25 for a while.
Yeah.
And now you can still get a lot of them for $60, depending on what they are. But for the price, for how good they sound, they're still probably a good deal. Like if you want to get, a nice Soul Station or just any of the classics or Hank Mobley, Quartet, or any of those records, and you don't want to shell out $200 for the Music Matters. It's probably proportional to get like a $50 King is probably worth, it doesn't sound as good as the Music Matters, but it's worth $50 compared to, 3,000 for the original.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
I'm a big fan of Kings, but
so check this out. I think somebody mentioned Soul Station. So this is the Soul Station entry. We won't go into the first pressing, but it was the first pressings from 1960. It's mono. Then they didn't press it. I guess there was a second press in 65 before they sold. And then they pressed it mono, and stereo in 68 as a Liberty. And look what they did to the cover of the first stereo pressing.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah, they did that with
Why
Green
would they
Street.
do that and not use
Green-
the original?
They did that with Green Street too, Grant Green, when that came out.
Yeah, and there's another.
They only did that with like records that were mono that were then when they first came out as Liberty. It was very like weird titles that were,
And they did it with the Benny Green,
Yeah,
where it's
yeah.
like,
It almost looks like a bootleg. It's so terrible.
yeah, they did Benny Green. I think it was I have the original Benny Green, but it was a really weird. It was like some girls hanging out in the park or something.
Yeah.
yeah.
Now the thing is, this is the first stereo pressing. It probably sounds fantastic, but because it has this weird cover,
It goes for nothing.
you can get a all analog stereo vintage reissue basically, which is nice. Nice sounding. I mean, it won't be RVG. I guarantee this isn't RVG, because when they waited to do the stereo later on, they had other people cut them, I think.
Yeah, I don't think he was.
No, he did the 60. He did the stereos in 66.
But that other people could cut and make that record sound great. And I have a number of those non-Van Gelder first stereos in the Liberty era, and they're all like excellent ways to get that music.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have my City Lights. I have the first stereo City Lights from like 67 or whatever it is.
It's a regular Liberty label.
Regular Liberty, all that, and the original of that is who knows, like
Yeah, I have that same pressing. I think of City Lights.
and it's great. It's hard band. Sounds excellent.
And also the King version of City Lights is really great. Oh, there it is.
This is the Green Street.
Oh.
So it's like, and it's actually kind of a cool. I mean, the cover is not. It's weird that there's an acoustic guitar.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense, but like, I don't know. I think the sign thing it's not awful. I mean, again, the guitar is a little bit weird that they.
But the original has the same sign. But it's
isn't this the original?
Yeah, that's the original.
Oh no, you're right.
You're thinking of what is that one?
There is one where there's a street on it. Street sign.
Oh, Street of Dreams.
Okay.
Is that it? Okay.
Yes. Yeah, that was like a 65. That was one of the later ones before.
It's the decisions sometimes. I don't know how much of it was creative or there was some legal reason. I don't know, but some of the choices are really weird in 67 to 69.
I don't know. There was that period of time where someone bought all those photos, right? They own the library of photos.
Oh, Mosaic?
Yeah.
Well, Michael Cascuna bought the photos.
Right. So I don't know how he allowed their use when they were doing the LT series. I don't know if he owned them or whatever. That might have been a reason. I don't know.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. If he owned them, maybe he didn't at that time. I don't know.
Well, I thought it was he produced the LT series, but I think he might have been against the nonsense covers. I don't know.
Yeah, there was I don't know if you guys have ever listened to the Vinyl Guide podcast, but there was one from probably at least 3 or 4 years back now where he interviewed Michael Cascuna, and he talked about how he talked with Alfred Lyon in the late 60s, early 70s, and he became, I think he made a good relationship with the family that after Alfred Lyon died in the early to mid 70s, it might have been the 80s actually, by the mid 80s. So I think you're right, Rob. I don't think at that time he it was still Alfred Lyon that owned the photos, and it may have been that he just wasn't interested in kind of licensing them out.
It looks like Kuskuna bought them in the 80s.
Yeah. Yeah, because then I think Alfred Lyon died in like 86, 85 or 86. And then after that, I think his wife, Alfred Lyon's wife, then contacted Michael Kuskuna to kind of oversee the thing. And actually, that was what led for years up until like probably 3 years ago or so, 2.5, 3 years ago, you could still buy like the prints of some of the photos on the Blue Note website. And
it was like the Mosaic website, and you could get like a really nice G-Clay print.
Yeah.
But that ended, I think, in 2021.
Yeah.
2020.
Might have been
probably 2021. He sold some.
I bought I have like a Grant Green, the tripod, but like this photo right here is actually like the print or whatever.
It's from Lion's Negative scan.
Yes. Yeah.
And I was kind of looking at about 3 of them, and then all of a sudden they disappeared.
And then they just disappeared.
It was gone, and I really bummed because I had 3. There was a Andrew Hill one, a Coltrane one I wanted to get, and a Joe Henderson one, and it was the whole Wolf collection. Not that one, but they were all. And they were like, I want to say like it was like $100, right?
I was going to ask you, how much were they wanting a piece?
I feel like they were 100 to 200.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you could just get like if you wanted. I don't know, because it was.
Get that from me, Mike.
They were pricey. Like I think that one was like, it might have been like $250 or $275, but there was some like varying level, like if you just wanted, and maybe Brandon, because you're like kind of
I think it was they were all pretty much high quality DPI. It was just the sizes.
Yes, you could get different sizes, and it went up. Like the biggest size was like 500 something for it. So,
and that was like 16 by 16.
Yeah.
Or you could just get a 10 by 10.
Yeah, but you could. It was great and I think Brandon, because you said you had looked at some, but it was great because on the website there was alphabetical order of all the different, and they had multiple photos of like.
I want to say they had about 55 different images that you could just have prints made to the size, and then you would just frame them. They offered a framing service, but it was much smarter to just do the framing yourself. Plus, they picked these like weird, ugly, black under. They just did a weird job. So if you just got the regular print, you could do it all yourself.
If anyone's interested, I'll send an old Polaroid of myself to you for $5.
I think we're all right, Rob.
Doing what? Playing your horn?
Yeah, the organ.
The upright organ?
Yeah.
Right.
Hey, can I share this real quick? It's a special day. So Monday's the day where you celebrate Rob, by the way. So for my own self, I got this. It came out today. Okay? So I'm going to open it.
What is it? What do we got?
I got it from Amazon. Bam. Oh, bam.
Oh, yeah, great record.
Yeah, I want to get that.
So last year, I got to go see him perform this live here in LA. I think he had done it like 3 or 4 years before him. And
also I think he did it like when it came out too.
Maybe, but this was awesome. And in fact, it was so awesome because the majority of the musicians he didn't play with before. He just showed up and they did it. And it was awesome. And a lot were like college students who played too. But he was awesome. It was a great experience. But I'm very happy to get this because up until this came out, probably still an OG of this is way over $100.
And
you can probably get it for 80 to 150.
But really hard to find too.
I mean, I found it a bunch of times, but I just wasn't willing to pull the trigger. But I'm very happy they did this. So
he was impacted by the fires, wasn't he?
There's okay, there's stories that he was or wasn't,
Oh, okay.
so I don't know.
Oh, okay.
But
But,
yeah, I'm super excited about this.
Yeah.
Hope not.
Well, I haven't bought any of the new reissue series, so this will be a good experience for me to see how good these are.
Yeah, we'll put it on right now and your
After-
headphones.
After
and
the
let us
stream's
know.
after the stream's over, I'll listen to it and I'll post. what I
Yeah, let
think,
us know
and
how they
I'll
sound.
put this nice program with it. The funny thing about this is he did the whole album, did some other songs. This place, the E-Bell, is in the neighborhood of LA where they have a strict 10 o'clock cutoff time of playing, which is ridiculous. You can't hear anything outside this theater. So they had to come up and whisper in his ear, "You have to stop playing." I was right in the front row, right in front of him. It was awesome. So very happy. And then I got to see him last summer where the Headhunters reunited. So that was
Oh
good.
yeah, very cool.
Yeah, I'm excited about that reissue. Hey, have any of you guys heard the before I go and watch the Knicks game, have you guys heard of that? Maybe you guys already talked about it. I just heard it and it blew my mind. Green Cosmos Advent Musicin. Do you know what that is? It's like early 80s German jazz quartet, saxophone, piano, bass, drums. 83, I think. I heard it. It's kind of like modal, but it has a really cool, like almost reggae sound to it. I can't really describe it.
Oh, I've seen that covered before.
Someone said it was psychedelic jazz. I did not hear that at all. But what I heard was kind of these cool groove, like for saxophone and piano kind of led music. It had a really cool kind of reggae feel to it. And it just got reissued. And I don't know if that's why the originals are now like $400 or if they were just kind of getting there, because it looks like the last ones sold were $100 or something, but it's just gone. Maybe people are just trying to make a profit, but to buy an original now, you have to drop $300 or $400. And I think I was looking, you can get this from their website, the reissue label, which is, I think is Fredrickson or something like that, for $30.
Yeah,
Nice.
Fredericksburg Records.
Fredericksburg Records, and it is. I was hoping someone here would know it, but I thought it was incredible.
I've seen the cover once before, but that's it.
I figured I'd seen
Felipe
it. It looked familiar. Like I probably saw it on the wall for $100 and was like, "What's that?" But it sounded.
Probably thought it was like a European fusion record or something.
Exactly. And at the time, I probably now if I like something like Embryo, I'd be like, "Oh, cool, get it." But at the time, I was like, "Oh, whatever." But then I heard it, and it kind of blew my mind. It's just really beautiful. And it's early 80s, but it has sort of more of a 70s cinematic sound to it. It's really good. I don't know if they were.
I think that's the same company that reissued. Remember, I showed that album they reissued in 2017 of the Finland Jazz.
Oh yeah.
That's the same record company.
Fredericksburg. Anyway, I was hoping one of you guys knew it, but I thought Dave might know it.
No, just seen it once, but don't know it.
It's really good. So I just called around all the record shops here. Nobody's got it, so I'm just going to order it.
You have to import it?
No, it's from New York.
Yeah, it's New York. It sounds.
Have to import from New York.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. The new New York tariffs.
Yes.
It's really cool. So I'm probably just going to order it. I saw there's like copies on Discogs for way more than just buying it from them, from Fredericksburg.
So cool. Are they on Bandcamp?
Huh?
Plus, Fredericksburg.
I don't know. I'm trying to remember how I heard it. I think I heard it from
Felipe. I think Felipe may have mentioned it.
No, I one of the jazz people I follow on Instagram. I think he had the original, and then he just bought the reissue and was like playing a sound sample of the reissue, and it just sounded wonderful. So DJ somebody that I follow on Instagram, I'll try to, let's see if I can find him. Save people time.
Is it DJ Pari, Brandon?
I think so.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
He lives in
He's in Virginia, right, or Maryland?
He's got a crazy collect, and he has a lot of
Yeah.
connections with like soul and funk guys from like the 70s. It's like
Well, he tours in Europe, does he not?
Yeah,
It's
I think he's from Europe, and he spent years in Europe, and then he came to the U.S. But he's always had, I think, a lot of connections with musicians, but also with just kind of people that. And yeah, he's got it pretty serious.
DJ Pari.
Does he do a radio show?
Yeah, I think in Virginia. Yeah.
He showed it a few days back. This was 2 days ago. So
Yeah.
that's how I found out
That's
about
probably
it.
where
I saw it in passing.
Yeah.
I think that's probably where I saw it.
But thanks to him for finding it, because I always I think he has great taste.
He's a big fan of the show. Blow him a kiss.
Mwah. Thank you, DJ.
He's a wine drinker like one of the Mikes we know.
Like Mike and Mazzy's not a wine drinker. He's a cocktail drinker. Huh? Yeah, look, he always posts stuff, and I'm like, oh, that's one of my favorite records, you know. So I follow him quite avidly. All right, you guys, I just wanted to show those Cecil McBees real quick because I really want to watch this Knicks game.
All right, thanks for joining.
I'll see you maybe next week.
Yeah.
Later, Brandon.
See you there, Brandon.
All right, see ya. All right, guys.
Hey,
All right.
I got a bunch of records. I know you're not going to go long tonight.
Okay.
Yeah, likewise.
All right. Okay, let's get through them. We're powering through.
We're going through quick.
Record show and tell.
I found this sealed today, and I was assured that this is a 1967 Liberty pressing.
Nice.
Nice and sealed. So this will be in the next auction.
Oh,
I
wow.
want that.
Brent,
That's
Rob,
a-
what's the back look like on that?
It looks exactly like, so this could be a 70-something white bee, which is the same Van Gelder
Right.
stereo.
Yeah.
But the person said in the collection it came in, he thinks it's a 67. So
Oh,
it
Is
looks,
is it
it's
worth
an old
opening?
jacket. It's
Is
a
it worth
Liberty
opening?
jacket.
Is it worth opening to check it out?
No, I'm selling it sealed, dude.
All right.
Let the person who buys it.
Okay.
But I'm like 80% sure it's
They might-
the old Blue Note label Liberty label.
Rob, they
Not a
might have
white
to
bee.
send it back to you for you to flatten it if they get it and it's warped. So
If it's warp, I'll listen. Anyone who's had issues with records I sell them, they will tell you I make it good.
Yeah,
So
Rob
for
is good.
$8,
Live
for
it up.
$8, Rob will open it, flatten if it needed, and clean it.
I'll smell it too. This
Okay.
is an OG of the Ornate Cobb.
Is that a
Valid
green
by
label? Is that a green label?
I'll show you in a second. There's who's on it: Red Garland, George Duvier, J.C. Hurd, and it is a pretty nice looking. Because I have the Analog Productions copies. It is a
Green
Deep
label.
Groove green label, Van Gelder. It's nice, very nice, and I'm sure people will reach out to me for it.
Rich wants
Okay.
it. If there's RVG in it, throw it in Rich's pile.
If it'll be a lot of people want it. This is a really good record. So this is CTI Arturo
Air
Art-
tube?
Air too.
R2, free. A lot Van Gelder, like all the CTI. There's a lot of good people on this too. Ron Carter, Chick Corea, Garrett Brown, Joe Farrell. There's several for each song. It's a different lineup. Okay. Now, Dave had bought from me this record, Feldman Brown, very desirable. But this record's from this series. Also, I don't know these. These are like modern, contemporary, classical, experimental kind of.
Yeah, kind of
Artists.
early experimental.
But John Cage and Christian Wolf on mainstream, which Bob Shea is Judd Apatow's grandpa. So he owns him and his sister actually manages the label. Judd Apatow's sister. So here, this is a white label promo, which I'll probably
wow, no kidding.
auction. Yeah, white label promo. All right,
You holding on to that or putting that in the auction?
no, it's going in auction.
Okay.
I found another OG of this. I have one. I'm gonna see if this looks better than the one I have, but this is very clean, extra clean. So pick that up. Okay, I picked this up. I found an OG of this Catalyst Unity on Muse. The cover is kind of sucky.
Yeah, but that's a heavy hitter.
Okay, and 2 days before, I found the Scorpio reissue of this, which
sweet.
actually sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
And as kind of as Scorpios goes, it's $50 record, I think. The original of this is like $200 or $300 record.
Yeah,
right?
a couple hundred at least.
All right, I have a couple very interesting things. Also, I've been the store I've been going to has had these 2014 org reissues, which go for quite a bit of dough. I'm gonna get rid of my 70s copy of this. This is awesome. This was it goes for dough. This and this is numbered, right? These org ones.
Nice.
But this sounds great, and it's mastered by both Bernie and Chris Bellman. They're both in the Deadlines. Okay, this I found the other day. Did not know this record. This is what I remember. Michael Kuzuna wrote the liner notes, which are really interesting on this. So this is mostly. This came out in '77, and if you haven't got any Robin Kenyatta, I highly recommend his album on ECM. That thing is fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's a great record.
But this is a live show he did at Columbia University in the late 60s. And these are great. Michael Costano writes that it was like a transition period for Robin because he kind of was in free stuff. I think is in the 70s he moved to more soul kind of stuff. But this is excellent.
And here's that ECM, I think.
Yeah, that album you should everyone should know. Get that album.
Yeah.
So most of the concert, it's him, Larry Willis, Walter Booker, and Alphonse Mozon. And they didn't have enough songs on here, so Michael Kustuda asked Mahal Richard Abrams to record a song with Robin Kenyatta later. So they added it to the album. This is very good. So highly recommend. Then I found an OG copy of Taking Care of Business. Oliver Nelson with Johnny Hammond Smith and Lem Winchester, which I picked up another Lem Winchester. Then I read about Lem Winchester. Does anyone know about him?
I only know him. He has an Argo record called like For Clifford that he and Ramsey Lewis, I think, do a Clifford Brown dedicated record.
Cool.
Well, so he was a cop who became a jazz musician, played the vibes. Then he was doing a gun trick for a friend, and he shot and killed himself.
Oh, shit.
I know. But this is good. Lem Winchester, he has another Nocturne, is another album with him and Oliver Nelson. That's very good. And here's the one interesting thing, the reason I bought it. Yeah, Lem was handy with a gun. Thank you, Mike. Michael. So this has what I believe is Oliver Nelson's autograph on the back. And Oliver Nelson died.
Yeah, you posted.
He died Oliver Nelson died in his young 40s. I think he had a heart attack or whatever. So it was cool to get that. Now, preface that with the same day I found this record. So this is a Russian pressing of what's the second Bill Evans record that they just did is the Kraft One Step thing.
Everybody
Waltz for
Digs?
Debbie or
No.
Everybody Digs?
No, Emil what is it? Someone help me. Imagine it came out in 61. It's his second trio record.
Oh.
Okay. So This right here has an autograph, and I'm going, cool. Bill Evans. I guess the first clue is it says Evans Bill. And if you go look up Bill Evans' his autograph, it could be his. This is Russian, Evans Bill. And then on the back here, it says blah 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 Victor Musical Industries Japan. Who didn't it's a freaking Riverside record. So why would they be licensing the record? And most people know these Russian ones are whatever. I was able to determine that this came out in 85, 5 years after Evans Bill died. So I'm guessing that's not a real autograph. I felt like
Rob, Bill Evans'
Bill
Evans' second trio record on Riverside is Everybody Digs Bill Evans.
No, it's this other one. It's Is it Imagination? What is it? They just did Kraft just did it as a one step. Come on. So regardless, this doesn't actually sound that bad. It doesn't sound bad. So, but Evans Bill, great job, Faker. And this is gray market, I think.
Is that on the Melodia label from Russia?
Yeah, what is that, a legit label?
Yeah, if it's the Melodia label.
It's not Moonbeams. Come on, people. I gave you the. I'm old. That's my excuse. But it's the one step that just came out. Okay. Next is and last is this album. Is EBU Hemet Bluet. That's not a Hemet. That's a lady with a mustache though. But it's in the Shrink. And this is a kick-ass record. So the lineup on this is John Hicks, Fred Hopkins, and Marvin Smitty Smith. Yes, Explorations. That's what this album is.
Oh, okay? Explorations is a great record.
Yeah.
Nice.
So this is really good. So the first half is actually pretty straight ahead, modal, post-bop jazz. The second side is a little more freer. But this is really a good record.
I felt like that had like a real blues rock feel.
It is bluesy. The first half. The second one,
the second half, but he does add his wild.
Oh no, there are those free riffs on the first half and songs. Yeah. But it is so good. This is so good. I can just picture John Hicks.
If you're familiar with Illinois Jack Cat, like that kind of style.
I just picture John Hicks while they're doing the album, turning his head to Hemet and going, reel it in.
Yeah. It does get pretty good.
This is cheap heat. I think you can pick this up for not that much. Yeah. Hey, I have the Russian one step. Only 3 people were murdered with the production of this record. So if anyone wants it, let me know. This record, yes, only 3 people were assassanated.
All right, Rob, are you done?
Tossed out a window of a skyscraper.
All right, who's up next?
I can show you a few.
Yeah, all right.
So Mazzy's friend Kimbo came to town last Saturday. So
I'm friends with him. I'm friends with him too.
Yeah, but he was traveling to see Pearl Jam play like 3 shows. So he saw them in Nashville and then I think 2 shows in Raleigh. But he hadn't been to Noble before, so a bunch of us met up there. And I hadn't been there since he's done the 2 big drops. So I think I got maybe 5 or 6 records. Almost all of it jazz. I did get this Public Enemy 12-inch. Welcome to the Terror Dome. So this was a promo for Fear of a Black Planet. So I thought that was pretty cool. That was like $10. But it's from the Voice of America collection. This was in the bins. This was the big find of the day. And I think, Joe, you found this record. Keith Tippett and Louis Maholo, No Gossip.
No, I don't have that record.
No?
No, maybe. I found it. I found it in a dollar bin, and I gave it to Joe. Other Joe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the one Dave, the one I have is the one that you told me about. It's that trio that also has the saxophone guy, and it's also on SAJ. But do you know what I'm talking about? It's like a brown.
It has
cover.
the tannish cover.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have that record. That's a good
one. Yeah, that's a great one too. Yeah.
But I've been looking for this for years, and it was just in the bins
Yeah.
at a really good price. This was just, it's a normal import from North
Right.
Country Distributors.
Yep. That's like 25 minutes from me.
Yeah, 1982 FMP S8 and S8, one of their SAJ titles, but it's Keith Tippett on piano and Louis Maholo drums. Really good stuff.
Yeah, it looks cool.
Yeah, that's I've been wanting that record forever. And then I found the rest I found in the bins. They're stock full because he's got so much VOA stuff still in there. But this one was another one just from a separate collection. The Reggie Workman Ensemble. This is a live date in Philly in like '86.
Yeah,
This
I
is
have
fantastic.
that. I have that record. It's good.
Yeah, it's on Leo out of the UK.
Yeah.
I didn't care for the first track that they opened with, but after that, this thing takes off. Oliver Lake, because he's playing the flute on the first track, but he plays when he starts playing the sax, it really gets going. And Marilyn Crispell gets going. The whole band does. Andrew Surill's on this on drums. This is really freaking good. I was very happy about that one.
Cool.
I didn't know it was a live record. You can hear the crowd after the songs, cheering, and there's a few people that get excited during the sax solos. This was another one I've been looking for a few years. This is another VOA one. Abdul Wadud with Leroy Jenkins, Straight Ahead, Free at Last on Red Record from Italy.
Oh yeah, yeah, I know that one.
Yeah. So this was cheap. This was probably like $14 or something like that. Happy to get that. Been on the want list. And then another one that's been on the want list for a while, which I'm sure you see this in LA quite a bit, but not out here.
Hold on. We have a request. We want to hear about the Kim bromance.
Oh, we will get to it there, Alex. Alex and his demands. The John Carter Quintet Nightfire.
Yes.
On
Nice.
Black
Awesome.
Saint. I've been looking for this forever too. It's just
Very cool.
These records don't pop up out here much.
I have that one. Yeah, LA.
Yeah, I love Roberto Miranda, LA bass player. He's one of my favorites. He's on this. I'm stoked with that one. And then this is a label I collect, Rashida Lee's Survival label, and I'd never put hands on this record. So this is
what do you got?
Jolie Wilson and Bond Street. This is What Would It Be Without You? And this is more. This is an interesting record because Rashida Lee's playing I think he's playing conga on this.
That's his label, right?
Yeah, he's not playing the drums. There's a different drummer. There's a saxophone player I'm not familiar with. I'm trying to think who else is on this. There's I think Leroy Jenkins might be on bass. It might be the other guy that's on ESP disc that's on bass. Might be Ronnie Boykins. I can't remember. It's one of the two. But the vocals are
Joe Lee Wilson records.
Yeah, this has got vocals.
Lee Wilson records a lot.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. It's Monty Waters plays soprano and alto.
Yeah.
Ronnie Boykins plays bass. Rashid Ali is on congas. George Avalaz is on drums. So Rashid Ali is playing percussion, not drums.
Right.
Or drum set. And then also Ryo Kawasaki on guitar, and then Jolie Wilson lead vocals.
Yep.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, the guitarist is front and center on a lot of this. And the congas are coming in. It's all, the music's really gets cooking. The vocals are strange on this just because they don't seem to, I don't know. I got to give it a few more listens. He's got a very distinctive voice.
Doesn't that guitar player have a Joe Henderson record? A record with Joe Henderson? Am I mistaken?
Might.
Yeah, I'm thinking of somebody else. Yeah, I am.
But I was happy to find it because I think I only needed maybe 2 or 3 titles left on the to have the whole label, and that was one of them. And it's not really one I wanted to order online. So I was happy to find it. It's cheap too. Like the others on the label are expensive. And then so I told Kimbo in the chat on here a week or so, maybe a couple weeks ago, to bring me some Sonics records because he's from the Pacific Northwest, and I was completely joking. I was just, and he came, but he wrote back, "Sure, I'll do it," and I was like, "All right, man, bring it on." So he brought 3 Sonics records, and he traded 2 to Dylan in the shop for the Ore promo that was on the holiest of holy moly walls behind the counter.
Mm.
I'm not sure what he was asking for that record, but it was a lot. But he got a good bit off. But he gave me the other copy he brought of the Sonics Boom.
Nice.
Yeah, so this is some early garage rock stuff from the Pacific Northwest. This is an original mono.
Wow.
Yeah, that was awful nice of him. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I,
stoked to have that.
I've heard those Sonics records are pretty difficult to find.
He told me he's got a bunch of copies of each.
Okay.
So, but you
Vinyl
can find them out there.
Piper has that one.
He was telling me about he had gotten with Vinyl Piper about acquiring some of those or doing a deal with them on those.
Yeah, they have a nice little rivalry going on.
Oh, okay.
Kimbo took videos of the wall there. There were
Mhm.
2 records I was interested in, but the prices were very high.
Yeah. I there was 3 records I wanted on the wall, or 4, probably 4, and I passed on all of them. It's just I didn't have that kind of cash with me that day.
What is the Benz like related to the wall?
Great.
Really?
I mean, these were I got all these records for under $100.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, man. A lot of these were $14.99.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
but those are good records, like that Red Records one you showed. I mean, the Rashid Ali,
That John Carter is good.
Revival. I mean, that's pretty solid. You
yeah,
got all
these
that
are the labels that kind of kept jazz going in the late 70s and the 80s. When because a lot of people check out when it comes to jazz in 1968 or so. They're done with jazz,
Mhm.
and then you have these labels, these Italian labels, the German labels, that kind of kept things going. The Leo label in the UK, all that stuff in the late 70s, 80s. I I didn't think I'd warm up to it as much as I have, and I have. So
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely focus on 45 to 69 primarily. But I have stuff. I have later stuff, obviously. But
well, you have a ton of that stuff.
yeah, I have a good amount, and I do like exploring it. I really do. I've sampled that Black Saint record you showed, the Nightfire.
Mhm.
I've gone through those catalogs. It's just that I feel like I'm just I don't know why I do try to do things chronologically. I just feel like I just want to make sure I understand as far back as I can go where I really enjoy it, and then I have time to to pick off those other things later.
And these a lot of these records are inexpensive. In Black Saint and Soul Note, they have not been reissued at all, hardly.
Right.
Well,
And
no.
there's
That
so.
actually that's changing. There's that company.
Mhm.
I just was at Amoeba, and I was amazed by how many that company that I picked up the Frank Lowe and the Blackman. Also, even Steeplechase is repressing records. I saw the Sun Ra Walt
Oh yeah, with the
Dickerson.
odd color cover.
Yeah, they just repressed that. You can go get that now for 30 or 5.
Is it
$40.
official? It looks like a boot.
It's officially a Steeplechase. Steeplechase is still going strong.
I wonder how they got the licensing on that, because there's only
Eargong does a lot of the Soul Note and Black Saints, right?
Black Saint. They're about to do the Billy Harper record. That's coming
because the
out.
Sun Ra licensing is no easy task. I mean, that's
But
Art Yard and
Yeah.
Strut have got that locked down pretty much.
This one?
Go get that. Yeah.
You're doing-
Yes. They're about to
gotta
reissue that.
This is a first pressing.
I have a second or third pressing of it.
This was, I guess, the first few records they pressed. They used this label here,
The
Yeah,
Sam
that's the one
Rivers,
I have.
Sam
that-
Rivers label.
and it has the Italian
Here,
stamp.
I'll put a link because I seen it ready to be reissued. Okay, let me find it.
Joe, don't you have the Frank Lowe that has this label?
Yeah.
So
Yep.
I don't have that one just yet.
I have a Don Pullen Sam Rivers record.
Yeah,
with
it's called
that
the Flam.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
think
actually
that-
it's not. I don't think it's as good as his other stuff. It's more subdued, but I think it's also because of the label. There
Yeah.
isn't as much like real out there free jazz stuff on Black
The
Saint.
one Frank Lowe record I want is the Palm one. And I've sampled that one, and there are a number of other ones that are good, but
Yeah, that was at WF. I bought that at WFMU last year.
Like-
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was that you came up when you came up to me at the fair. You were there 5 minutes and already had that record.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Well, the big
you had
one
already
was
like
the big one
crushed
was
it.
the Milford Graves one, but that was the Bob
Okay.
or Bobby.
Actually, happy day to everybody. I'm going to do everyone a solid.
okay.
Forced Exposure has 15% off all weekend. And they have today's the day the Billy Harper reissue comes out. So go get it. Put the link right there in the chat.
Thanks.
There
Rob.
you go. It's Rob's birthday on Monday. This is a Rob's birthday special to everybody.
Good.
And
looking
based
out.
on how the quality that this company's been doing, they're great reissues.
So
Okay.
So for Frank Lowe, this
That's
one,
that's a great
this one I feel like I like the best from sampling it. This
I
one
got that
thought-
in Virginia or DC.
That's a
I can't
killer.
remember.
That's a killer.
This one is
Yeah.
way more affordable, but I don't
Yeah.
think it's as good as the Palm one.
I don't
unfortunately.
know if it's that affordable, dude.
That's not an easy
Click
record
on
to
it.
find in the U.S.
No.
That's out of France.
No.
That's on the Marge label. That's a tough.
Yeah.
It's not. You're right though, Mike.
$50.
It's not super expensive. I found that at Hudson Valley.
I want that
and it was
record.
like 40
Someone
bucks,
sent it to
but
me.
that's also
Right.
because he really doesn't. He doesn't overprice stuff there. So
Rob,
I
check your
think Carolina
messages.
Soul had one.
yeah. Those are your best bets is to find
But
it either.
this one is really good.
Yeah.
But I do think this is the one I really want.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
So
How
and
much
it
is that? $5
That's
million.
actually one of the more affordable palms for even
Yeah.
though it's usually like 100
there's-
150.
Okay, so there's 6 copies. It's only been pressed once. I thought this was pressed by Souffle Continue. I thought you could get this. Maybe not.
Yeah, I don't. That one hasn't
Well-
been redone
Well,
yet.
based on them doing the Biard Lancaster box,
Biard
they'll probably do
Lancaster.
more, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So this guy has a copy. Let's take a look at it. He has pictures, but he wants basically 150 to import it here.
I hope it's his nude body and you're getting trouble.
And stuff. All right, let's see. So we have this
You probably
picture.
sold it.
That's the back. It looks, in
Who else
decent.
is playing on it?
So it is Lawrence Butch Morris trumpet, George Brown drums, Didier LeVay. I don't know what he's
Ballet,
doing.
yeah, that's his classic quartet.
So
they played on the Marge one too.
But yeah, it's a good album.
This late 70s stuff is.
It just costs $150.
Yeah.
Have you picked up any of those Souffle Continues?
Yeah, I have the Biard
Yes.
Lancaster box that
Yeah.
Rob and I have.
And
Plus-
All right, Mike.
Actually, that's all I have. That's
I have other ones.
some
that
Frank Lowe.
done-
yeah.
okay.
That's
That's
more
new.
recent. Yeah.
So this is out loud. This is really freaking intensely awesome. This happens to be a promo copy
Nice.
of the 550 that were pressed. This was on the wall in Greenville at Horizon Records. And it comes with a booklet, like a really big booklet. I think Joe found this too.
Yeah, I have. Tom had that in the bins, the new vinyl jazz bins. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember you finding that.
Yeah.
I've had that for a
Is
few
that
years.
Is the Palm Frank Lowe, that is a studio recording, right?
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
yeah. This is it.
My favorite Frank Lowe is his record for ESP disc, the Black Beings.
Yeah.
But that will literally blow the windows off your
That's
house.
too much for me. That's too
This
much.
was one of the first Frank Lowe's I bought.
Listen, young
because
Joe,
I
it's melt your face.
I'm not-
came to
it
Frank
does
Lowe
more
through
than
Butch
that,
Morris. So for me, I really dug Butch Morris, and I was buying, whatever I could find of his, and then I saw he was on this record, so that led me to
Yeah.
Frank Lowe, and then
Anything
You know.
Frank Lowe is on, buy it. You will not be disappointed.
Joe was talking about WFMU. This was in the bins.
Like that one I found, the one-sided forced exposure release. that Thurston Moore produced.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
good.
I don't have that one.
So Eargong did reissue this, but this one is jump in, Rob.
No, say go ahead.
So it's Frank Lowe with Jerry Allen on here.
Oh wow, on piano.
Yeah, and Gretchen Moncourt the third. It's a different group than that other one you mentioned, Joe. That second one.
Black Beings.
No. The second one on.
Oh, the one that's on Marge.
No. Black Saint or Soul Note. The Frank Lowe. Anyway.
Oh
whatever.
yeah, the Flam. Yeah, the Flam.
The Flam.
Yep.
Thank you.
Hey, hold on.
Different style.
Mike, here you go, Mike. This will set you straight.
Yes, yeah, I saw that. Yeah, thank you for letting me know. I don't really mind if the sound quality isn't so great. I mean, I listen to like 40s acetate.
In your defense, Mike, in Mike's defense, this is how Mike likes his jazz.
As long as it's good music and you could hear it and there's enough there. I mean, what was I listening to? It was just
Mike, I don't know if you'd like this one though. This one's got a bunch of people like John Zorn and Johnny Lindbergh and Billy Bang, and this one's pretty wild.
Oh,
Joseph Boy's on it.
It'll melt your face.
This is actually the one behind me.
A lot of folks.
Is what I was thinking of.
This one's really out there. This is the most out there one. Frank Lowe and Eugene Chadbourne, Don't Punk Out.
That's a good cover.
A bit unlistenable.
That's a weird.
But
that's
it's
a
cool.
weird record. There's like
it's freaking nuts.
There's like 30 songs on that record.
Yeah, Eugene Chadbourne's from Greensboro.
Like
up the
Might
road.
Be Giants record.
Yeah.
Hold on. So to go back around recording quality, I was listening to this recently. This is a recording from 1944 from a guy named Baron Tim Rosenkrantz. He was
Is Frank Lowe on it?
European royalty. It's Errol Gardner's first recording.
It's a horrible transition.
But the thing is that it's a great historic document. There's a lot. I won't bore everybody, but it's really got a great story behind it. But the recording quality, it doesn't matter. It was cut on a lacquer acetate in somebody's apartment is the source. So it's never going to sound
dial
good,
records weren't they the first?
Was
those are the
Frank
first
Lowe
ever 12-inch
conceived during the
jazz records,
recording
aren't
of that record?
I love this.
Yeah, I think
So
they were
nice.
some of the very early ones, at the very least.
Yeah.
I mind. I feel like recording quality in context. Like that's an old recording, was recorded in a particular way. My expectation meets that. If it's like a modern recording and it's not lo-fi on purpose, like that is a problem.
I mean, this record, it's not the best recording, but it is so very good. So, I mean, archival or whatever, it's good.
Yeah.
Interesting, man.
No one
Butch
here's
Morris is on
talking
this
about
one too.
audio. Yeah, that's good. I think you could. I picked that up at
You
what's
can
the
still
place
buy
in
that on the
DC?
Cadence Jazz website.
Yeah.
I don't think they have
That's where
it
I got it.
anymore, though.
Oh, really? I thought they
Yeah.
had. Maybe it was
No.
maybe a few months ago. They didn't. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a cheap.
That's
that's
not
a
hard
cheap
to
one
find.
to find.
That's not hard to find.
Yeah,
that's an
Abdul
easier
Wadud on cello.
That's a nice one.
That's all I got for Low. You've got some different ones, Joe.
Yeah, I've tried to find as much as I can from him, and
Yeah.
I remember Black Beings was really intense, but then I don't know if you could take that. That's one of the most real raucous type sessions. So,
Yeah,
I got
I like
show
Duo
tonight.
Exchange is the pinnacle, though.
Yes, I agree. Yeah,
That's
I found
one of the greatest records ever created by
Carolina
man.
Soul last summer. That's a great one. So, a few weeks ago, I went down to the city. I stopped at Hudson Valley, and I knew they had this. I saw this on their Instagram. I've had this record on my radar for a few years, and really just never found it or really saw it. But I don't know if any of you have this, Sir Edward.
I have a very rough copy of it.
The Power of Feeling. This is on. There's not many records on this. It's on the Encounter label. Yeah. But Sir Edward is the alias of Harold Vick.
Oh wow!
Yeah, this is
No,
from
I'm curious why he took that alias.
I don't. Yeah,
Doesn't Harold Vick, isn't he a vibe player or no?
No, he's a saxophone player.
Thanks.
Can you go back and start at the beginning of jazz, please, Mike?
Whatever. I thought who's on that Harold Vick tone poet.
This
That
is
guy.
kinda
That's
great.
a kick-ass record. I have a
Yeah.
rough copy of it, and that's not a cheap record at all.
No, yeah, it was good copy. Real nice condition. Joe Bonner. Yeah, I'm not familiar with anybody else, but it's got a nice modal. It's definitely not free. It's like modal post bop.
It
Type
has a
stuff.
little soul. It has soul jazz to
Yeah,
it.
and there's like a soul. Yes, there's definitely a soul aspect to his saxophone.
Yeah.
He plays the flute on the first track, and then the rest of the tracks it's him on the sax. But Harold Vick's great. If you find him, yeah, this one is like expensive, but yeah,
It could be a $200 record.
Yeah, but I did pay
The
less
one
than that.
I was at
they
a
have
store that the guy likes me, and he goes, "This is in the best shape. Plays nice."
Yeah.
He sold it to me for like $25.
Oh, nice. Yeah, you can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't beat that. Yeah.
No,
I
no,
also
no.
went to last weekend was the Philly Record Fair Vinyl Con. I know Rob in August they're coming out to LA.
They're coming here at the end of August, downtown LA.
Did you drive down
And
to
now
Philly
it's-
again?
Yeah, I went to Philly again. Yeah, this was the last time. So my wife and I are expecting a baby in a few weeks, and so
Oh, congratulations!
yeah, thank you. So
Congrats.
this is
Nice.
this was kind of my last weekend was my last kind of hurrah big trip.
Yeah, it's the
so-
last time we'll see you, Joe. No, you could. You're
That'll be
always
number
wel-
3, right? Number
No,
You're
3.
always welcome to pop in whenever, obviously.
Number 2.
Boy or
number
girl,
2?
man?
It's a boy. So
Oh,
Joe
nice.
Jr.
daughter. We have a daughter, 3.5-year-old daughter, and then this will be number 2. So
It's either
This
going to
one I
be
didn't look-
Joe or Palm Label,
it's
right?
Is his middle name going to be Brotzman?
it's gonna be Robert, his middle name after my idol, the waxed Rob. So
Everyone who's been named after me has had a horrible fate.
Which year is that one, Joe?
this is an original. So
70 what? 70.
73.
Yeah, because there was a 76 press too.
Yeah, and I was looking into that, and it was, I guess, people think that there's really no difference between the two. There's like a small, subtle, like label design difference.
Yep.
But they think that it was just like leftover copies, and then they like just made new
Right.
jackets or something like that. So
That sounds right. And
Yeah,
it's
so
funny,
there
I
wasn't
gave
really
that
much-
record as VCLT to Kimbo when he was here.
oh, nice.
Not that
yeah.
particular copy, but
But
a reissue.
That's an excellent movie, by the way, if anyone cares to watch it.
Yeah, I'd like to. So, but yeah, the music is great.
Yeah.
That was a
You watch it.
big one, and then the one that was really nice that I found, I traded a little bit for this and had a chance to buy it, but it just kind of slipped. But they had one of the sellers had a copy of the Pyramids King of Kings. This is an original. They're both the same label. It's like a blue label, but they're both, I think, the same pressing too. It's just like different cover. There's one that had like a black kind of heading to it, and then this one's the blue one. So it's a real nice shape. 70, 74, free jazz, real like almost like very spiritual as well. A lot of flute playing, vocals as well. So me getting into kind of some African stuff in the last few months, this has kind of moved into more of my safer kind of sound. So
Yeah, it's like Idris Ackamore, right?
yes, yep. So that was that, and then on my way to Philly, I stopped. It wasn't really on the way, but it was somewhat kind of in that direction. I did stop at Human Head again in Brooklyn. Been on a big African kick, and as of right now, that's been the best source. A lot of the stuff is rough condition, and I've really stopped kind of laying out the money for a lot of them because it's just stuff is trash. But this one was in the bins. It was not expensive. I think, it wasn't too bad. But this guy is Ken Moore is what his name is. Again, this is from. Actually, I don't even know I think this is like early 80s. There's no year on Discogs, but it's I think this is the name of the record.
Yeah, you
I
want
don't
you.
even know. Yeah, it's a cool one. Just African funk type stuff. This one wasn't actually in too bad a condition. The label's really interesting because it almost just looks like it's just like the label is just this real like basic paper type.
Oh yeah, I dig
There's-
the old African 70s labels.
Yeah,
dude.
there's really not much to it. So this was a cool one. Again, not real expensive, and
That
seems
guy's
like
Brazilian stuff is crazy because he goes to Brazil
Yeah.
all the time because his wife's from there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there was a lot of great stuff, and I don't even. There was probably stuff that I passed by that I would have been awesome, and I didn't have the time.
I heard his wall pieces are
Oh.
kind of inched up in price a little bit.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But interesting enough though, I went and there were some things that like I already had the Blue Note stuff, but if I was like early into collecting Blue Note, or if I wanted to like step into the next level and start buying originals, they have like a jazz section, and there's probably maybe 10 or 12 artists that have like a plaque card themselves. There's like Art Blakey, Horace Silver, guys like that, guys that had like a lot of Jimmy Smith, these guys that had a lot of records, but they had a lot of like original or early pressings. And I mean, they were certainly a few $100s for some of them, but they were in really nice shape for what it was. So again, like if you got some money, you wanted to, they definitely have a lot of that stuff. So
Where does he
Hey,
keep the 7-inch records there?
so he had some record 7 inches that were like rare 7 inches that were on.
Mhm.
When you first walk in the store, there's like a wall on the left, and then there's like the $3, $5 records right below it, and then the store kind of is like it goes like across, and then you like turn, and then it goes. So it's kind of like, I don't know, this like a snake type shape to it, but the Brazilian is on like the wall that like, I don't know, is in like the back section of the store, and then on the wall that's to the left of it, that's kind of facing towards the street, that's where like the rare 7 inches are.
Okay.
And then below that is where like the more common type. But again, there was a lot of people that were going through those. It didn't seem from the few times I've gone that people were really picking much off the wall. I think it maybe just was maybe the right time, at the right person, right time type thing. But there was a lot of great stuff. You'd have to spend hours there to really.
Yeah, well, we're going there in November because we're staying in Brooklyn this time instead of Jersey.
This weekend at Now Again's open this weekend. They're doing the pop-up sale from the guy's collection, but also the seller. I'm trying to look who it is from New York, but a lot of Brazilian fuzz. Here's some stuff some stuff that they're selling. Yeah, that's it. Here.
Yeah, they have an original of this bad boy.
Yeah. So I'm going to go over there tomorrow. Yeah. I do not know any of that stuff, so that will be interesting.
Let me know how much the Notaro is.
I started a poll for fun, and I only could have 4 answers, so I just limited it. The poll question is your favorite jazz time period of those listed. There's 4 options, so go and answer it. It's 1945 to 55, 55 to 65, 65 to 75, 75 to 85. We have 13 votes so far.
I maybe do a poll of how many people knew who Harold Vick was.
Last two, these were just in like the bins. Again, Human Head. This one's really killer. If anybody wants to check this out, it's Mandla is the name of the record, or the name of the guy actually. This is from the late 80s. It's definitely got a like a jazz funk, just this great African rhythm beat to the back, and then he's killer on the saxophone. This one was priced, I think I paid $20, $25 for this. And it's pretty, it is pretty rough, but I listened to it recently and it actually plays pretty nice. And copies on Discogs, this is like $75, $80 at the very least. Yeah. So that was a nice one. This one is South African. So the first one was, I think, from Nigeria, which is like most of the stuff that I think is the, kind of the hotter ticket stuff. This one's also from Nigeria. This is a killer one as well. Real nice funk, like boogie almost. Cool label to the back.
What a great hat.
So this is another one.
Ass.
I think I paid like maybe $75 for this. Plays pretty good. It's probably kind of VG, I would say. Doesn't play too bad. Real great beat to it. But this is also like, I looked this up on Discogs when I got home, and it was like $125, $150 for a copy. So, and it's, I mean, the thing about Discogs with African stuff is you really can never go off of the prices, because most of the time it's like G plus copies have sold, and it's $30, and it's a record that, you know what I mean, if it's a nice condition, it could be $200, $300, $400 or more for some of them. So that's what I
has
found.
anyone done a concerted effort to go in there and try and find a way to reissue these records?
Yeah, I don't
Now
know. I
again,
think
has done
the
some.
struggle is finding copies that are clean, because I mean, even like with Egon, with the stuff that he was doing for Record Store Day,
Yeah.
a lot of the Now Again stuff, that, I mean, there's probably no tapes for any of that. The one that came out, actually, I think Dave, you got that the purple cover, Chrissy
Zebby Tembo.
Yeah.
Oh, the
that
one he just put out. Yeah.
I looked into that, and it was after Record Story, but I looked into it, and supposedly like the company that made the records owned like a furniture store, and in the back was where they put like the stock, and they like the business like shut down like years after the records came out, and with like the African heat and humidity, all the records were just like trash. So that's why there's like no covers for any of them. I know Dylan has got a copy of that. I don't know if he has a cover for his or not, but
he has an original. There was no cover made for that one.
Yeah, and so it's like it was like all trashed, all warped, beat up.
But
whatever.
It's kind of an anomaly, that one.
Yeah,
all the other records have covers.
Any type of sound samples for that was unbelievable. So
the Zamrock stuff.
Yeah.
All right, I'm just gonna switch over to the poll. So the poll, we have, it's kind of neck and neck, and people are now getting concerned about the legitimacy of the poll. So the two leaders right now in the vote count is 1955, 1965 with 45%, 1965, 1975, 38%. We have Rev saying that 65 to 75 will pull it out. So
he's voting for Hoobastank.
I was never concerned about the legitimacy. I knew at the beginning there was no legitimacy.
Rev voted Hoobastank. That's his vote.
All right. So the poll is still going. I have some stuff to show.
It's a very scientific poll. You know what he's going to do with the results? He's going to fix it because Earl Gardner's going to win.
All right. In the spirit of what people are showing tonight, I'll start with this one. This is Wordless by Steve Lacy on Futura. Yeah, I went to a shop in New Jersey and I was just flipping through their bins. I think it's called Revela. And
great store.
Yeah, and they had this in there for $40, so I thought that was a good price.
That's one of the best shops up there.
And it's 1971 session in Paris. Steve Lacy soprano sax, Ambrose Jackson on trumpet, which I don't think Ambrose Jackson recorded too much, but he did record with the Art Ensemble and Marion Brown on a couple tracks. Irene Abbey is his wife. Am I saying her last name right?
Maybe.
That's it. Well, Irene's his wife. She plays cello on this. She does not sing, which I think is why it's called Wordless, because I think she sings on a lot of the stuff that she's on. So, and then Kent Carter, who I wasn't familiar with, and Jerome Cooper, what group is Jerome Cooper in? Pop quiz.
I have a lot of his solo stuff.
He was a character on The Big Bang Theory, I think.
Bingo. He's part of Revolutionary Ensemble.
Yeah. Yeah, so, on ESP disc, there's one.
Yeah. So with Leroy Jenkins
on bass
and Leroy Jenkins violin.
Right here.
There you go. Yeah.
I don't mean to interrupt, Mike, but I took a picture of the wall at Atomic. Dave, look at this record.
Okay.
Oh, shit.
Wow. We can't see that, Rob.
300?
Yes.
Wow.
I mean, that's the going rate for it. Yeah. If he wants 300, you can offer him 275 and see if you can get it.
Is that an independent press?
No, that's
Is that on Akba?
What is it on?
I think it's on
AK. What's AK? AK
Akba.
1000.
Yeah, it's AK-BA. It's Akba. It's the name of the label. There was a
So
handful
what-
of Charles Tyler records on that. He has
Looks in
another
great
one. It's
shape.
a live performance from the late '70s that Alex Diamond Marimba showed me. That's a killer one as well. It's live, live at some festival, I think. Do you have that one, Dave?
Which one?
It's like Charles Tyler live at some festival. It's like the late '70s.
Live in Europe?
I don't know if it's live in Europe. Oh, it might actually be. Yeah, it's like a tannish color, brown color to it.
The Charles Tyler stuff's escaped me.
I have that. I have that, Joe.
That's a great one.
I have live in Europe.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, those are tough pulls.
My favorite of his is when he plays with Harold Vick.
I just have his ESP disc stuff.
Yeah, his ESP disc stuff is killer. Yeah, the mid '60s stuff.
Yeah. That was a joke. Rob, you missed my joke.
I didn't know you were funny. I tuned you out when you were talking.
All right. I was hoping Chris would join. I wanted to show him these, but I got a stack of 10-inch records that I'll just kind of quickly go through. I think I like them all, honestly, but this one is really excellent. This is, I think it's 1949 or 1950 pressing. It's a dial, 10-inch. It's Dodo Marmarsoa. I'm saying that totally wrong. Mamarsoa. And Dodo Mamarsoa.
That was an alias for Harold Vick.
I don't know why I'm like jumbling his name now. But anyway, are you guys familiar with his piano work? You will. Everybody is. Everybody is. So he plays.
Can you do a poll on how to pronounce that?
I don't know. I'm blanking out here. But he plays piano on Ornithology. So one of Charlie Parker's most famous songs.
Wow.
Yeah. And he's a bebop piano player. And he has a number of recordings as a trio as well. I think with like Don Bias, maybe or I forget who the tenor was, but Lucky Thompson. He played with Lucky Thompson in a quartet, but they're all on 78s and were really never issued on LP. This is one of the few that were issued on LP, that his dial trio sides. What's cool about this is it's bebop piano and he sounds fantastic on it. This is a great record. On side one, it's all the trio. Side two, the first track is trio. The second track, they put Ornithology on there. So you get an OG Ornithology cut on LP. And then the last two, to round it out, because I guess they just didn't have enough material, they put 2 Errol Gardner tracks, which are also pretty fantastic.
No shit.
But Dial did that. They would give the name of a record to somebody and they would just be on side one, and side two would be like a bunch of other things that they would put together. But this is it's like burlap or something, it's material. And then the back is whatever that is.
Where'd you find that one, Mike?
I found this online. I think it was I think there might be a G+ copy available, but it's a pretty rare record. And
yeah,
I absolutely adore it. The playing on it is.
I love that old Dial label.
He's so good.
Are you trying to collect that whole series?
No. This just was a standout. No, there's
found a bunch of them though, Mike. You can't be too far away from having them.
What?
You might not be too far off. I mean, you've found a lot.
No,
of them.
there's a lot. There's a lot. There's
Is
a lot
there?
of inches. Yeah. And they're
what about the
gettable.
12 inches? I didn't think they made that many in that series.
Well, the 12 inches, I need one Charlie Parker, and I might have, but there's only 3 of those, I think, or at least, or maybe there's 4. I think there's 4.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep going. All right, let's take a look at the poll. All right, so the poll, almost 50 votes. 1965 has overtaken 1955. So 55 to 65
How many
is
people
40.
have taken the poll?
We're at 48. 1965, 1975 is
As a
one.
professional statistician, that's not enough to tell. Each person literally is worth 2.5 people.
All right, I'm going to go quicker. So this is a 10-inch Jerry Mulligan on Prestige. I found this in Revela as well. It was cheap, so I picked it up, and it was in great condition. I like the track Funhouse on this. It's really good.
What's his? I don't know Alan Eager. Who is it?
So Alan Eager is, what is he?
What city is Revilla Grooves in?
He's tenor.
In Milltown.
Okay.
Near
So-
New Brunswick. I don't think it's very far from. So it's north Jersey.
Yeah, yeah. It's like
Danny
a
from
Rutgers.
LA moved out there.
It's close to Rutgers. So Alan Eager, tenor, Nick Travis on trumpet, who I've been listening to some of his stuff. He's really good. He shows up on a bunch of different stuff. Jerry Mulligan, George Wallington piano, the great George Wallington. Yeah. So anyway, it's good. I mean, it's West. So Prestige put out like West Coast like cool jazz stuff. I mean, this was recorded, East Coast, but the style. There's a number of early 50s cool jazz.
Charlie Parker was
in
a running
Prestige.
back for the Chicago Bulls.
All right, next up is a heavy hitter for me. This is the Amazing Bud Powell Volume 2. This is
Nice.
I think it's the first pressing, but just fantastic. Just an incredible
Wow.
record. So this is Bud Powell, George DeVivier, and Art Taylor drums. And
Blue Note.
this is Blue Note 10-inch 5041. And I think the actual Amazing Bud Powell Volume 2 is this session, I think with just like the additional outtakes or something, but double check me on that. But that's the original there. Sound is incredible.
I've never seen a copy of that anywhere.
Yeah.
Wow.
And here's the Lexington label. The thing about Lexington, I know people want them for the early 1500s, but I feel like it's really the 10-inch label. Like all 10 inches have the Lexington. And then they moved to 1500 for a couple years. They used it and then they switched. But Lexington, I think
does
there's
that
more.
have a flat edge, Mike?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All this.
Probably
This
does.
is,
If it's Lexington, yeah.
yeah. It's, Plastolite, all that stuff. I think this is a 54 session or a 54 pressing. It's either 54 or 55. It's towards the later 10 inches. But
Nice.
anyway, it sounds good. It's a
Did you
Hackensack.
find that at Revilla also?
No, I bought this from Strictly Headies.
Oh, okay.
So I put an order in for Strictly Headies for this. And
Nice shape. Even the cover.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
finds
and-
crazy stuff out in Portland.
yeah. And then this. And I made him an offer, so he picked it up. But this is another 10-inch
Oh, wow.
Frank Foster.
I have the early 70s pressing of that.
Yeah,
it was Donald Byrd. It was Donald Byrd's copy.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
this
Was
is-
it Bird Donald or Donald Bird, Rob?
It was Donald Vic Byrd.
So this is Frank Foster tenor, Benny Powell trombone, Gildo Mahones piano, Percy Heath bass, and Kenny Clark drums. And this is like, if you look at so if you look at an early 10-inch Blue Note, that's a bad example.
While you're doing that, Mike, I
Yeah,
think I'm gonna
it
hop
was-
off. So I'm gonna
You
talk
got
to you
out
guys
here? Okay.
later.
All right, I'll go through this
See you, Papa.
really quick. So this is an early Blue Note. It's 5026. And on the back, it just shows catalog numbers of other records that they have.
Mhm.
It doesn't even have the sidemen on this. If they're sidemen, they're going to be on the cover. So once the 10-inch starts evolving, so this is 5033. This might be the year afterwards. They start actually looking like the back of a regular Blue Note where they have, the familiar kind of set and everything there. So anyway, so this Frank Foster, it looks like kind of like a modern Blue Note. I think Ira
It's a good record. It's a good record too.
Leonard Feather does the liner notes on it. Yeah, and Frank Foster has another record on Vogue, and it was a Paris recording with a quintet that I'm trying to get. But
That's a great cover on that one.
yeah, it's good. But I think I'm going to slow down on the 10 inches. I really wanted to have a good selection. And I think with that Horace Silver that I got, the Blue Note Horace Silver and the Blue Note Bud Powell, those were really nice to get.
Yeah, that Bud Powell is sweet.
Yeah. So do you guys know who Red Rodney is?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I didn't really have anything except for his stuff he played. Actually, I don't even think I have the stuff he played with Bird on like the 49, 50, 51 era. So I think it was like the Norman Granz groups. And I don't think I have any of that. So anyway, This popped up. This is a pretty hard record to get. It's usually pretty expensive. It's Red Rodney returns on Argo with Billy Root, and they had it for $20. And I think it's in like nice condition. It's like a $100 record.
What's the note sheet in there?
Those are just my notes.
Oh, okay.
So Billy Root is from Philly. He played with Dizzy, Stan Kent, and Clifford Brown. So Red Rodney is known as like a bebop trumpet player. That's why Parker wanted him. He played, he studied kind of in Dizzy's style, although he didn't not play like Dizzy, but he played more like Dizzy than Miles played like Dizzy. That's for sure. So anyway, so I got this. So my first Red Rodney record. He didn't do too many. There's another one he did called Signal.
I thought he did stuff in the 70s or 80s.
Oh yeah, he has some Muse records. That's
Yeah.
right. Like Super Bop, I think is one record.
Huh, no kidding.
And what kind of trumpet did he play? I think he played like a
Flugelhorn.
Flugelhorn. That's right. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. No, he's playing trumpet on this. Never mind.
But the pictures I see in his later records,
he might be playing Flugelhorn.
Big ass trumpet.
Yeah, that's probably
like Butch Morris. Well, Butch Morris played the cornet a lot.
But yeah, and then the rhythm section I wasn't familiar with. Danny Kent, J.K., Frank Young. So anyway, got that one. It's on Argo. There's not too many Argos I want.
Well,
that are left.
The problem with Argos is they must have sold well because they're always in shitty condition. They are.
All right, I got this. This is Sonny Boy, Sonny Rollins on Prestige. This was again $20, way undervalued record. I mean, it is a 64.
Okay, still.
But it's RBG. It sounds great. It sounds probably.
Yeah, I've been looking for that one for years. I never found it.
Now, this is actually a reissue with one track difference. It's actually this record. You guys know this one?
Yeah. Tour de Force.
No.
Yeah, I that's been on my want list since the beginning of time.
So this is these are 1956 sessions. This is the first time they put them out. Then they put them out again a little later, and they put the additional track, The House I Live In.
That Tour de Force record's gone way up. It's like $300
yeah.
for one that's not the best.
I gotta say, this is not my favorite Sonny Rollins session. Yeah. But, it's fine.
That was a good price, though, for that.
Yeah, good price. And then the last thing I'll show, this is excellent. Rhino Hi-Fi should have reissued this when they were doing jazz. Billy Joe's Beat on Atlantic. First stereo.
Does yours have an autograph that says, "What the fuck, Philly Joe Jones"?
It does have an autograph. Thank you for reminding me. The sax player autographed it. Bill Barron.
Bill Barron.
So, and it's in the same place that your autograph was that you showed earlier.
Right. I'm going to tell you this. Here's my feeling.
Is that the one you said that you thought was Bill Dixon?
Yes.
Okay.
Here's my feeling with regards to Philly Joe Jones. And I don't know off the top of my head how many lead records he has. I know later he did some on Galaxy lead records. He has a good number of them on this. What was that? I think you have it, Mike, the Dama something label. And then up
what
front,
record?
Philly Joe Jones. Maybe Chris has it. But he did a line of Atlantic records, right?
Okay.
I only have one.
Yeah.
You have that one. I have the one he did with Elvin Jones. And it's excellent. I think they should reissue. They should reissue this Philly Joe Jones. How many Atlantic records did he lead?
Had to be
I've
a few.
watched there. I forget who did it, but in the early '80s, someone interviewed a lot of jazz artists, and there's an interview with Philly Joe Jones that is excellent.
So let me tell you who's on this. So you have Philly Joe on drums, Bill Barron tenor sax, Michael Downs cornet, which I wasn't too familiar with him. I think it's one of his few recordings. On piano, Walter Davis Jr. So that exclusive Blue Note Davis Cup, Walter Davis Jr. Davis Cup that everybody was, FOMOing over. Well, he's playing piano on this, and then Paul Chambers bass. And this is definitely something I'll be revisiting. Like, it's excellent. You could put this up there with, some of the great hard bop records. It's just straight ahead hard bop. The first song they do is Salt Peanuts, and it's great. It's just great. 2 bass hit. So they're doing some dizzy stuff. Yeah, it's fantastic. It's not earth shattering or anything, but it's just really extremely well played, straight ahead jazz. So yeah, and this is the first stereo. So it's
Oh yeah, I dig those labels, the blue and green.
So there's that. And then, yeah, I mean, Rhino Hi-Fi, if they were looking for jazz to put out, this one and the Ted Curson they should do on Atlantic.
This one, where he writes to me, especially to me, what the fuck, Billy Joe.
Heck yeah.
But this is very good. This is Tim, Elvin Jones. They're playing at the same time, by the way. Hank Mobley, Lou Mitchell, Curtis Fuller, Wynton Kelly, and Paul Chambers. This is an excellent record.
Yeah. I have him. This is a cool record. It's Showcase.
Oh yeah.
This could easily be in the new OGC series. They probably will do this. So Philly Joe, it's Blue Mitchell.
That's a great record.
Blue Mitchell, Julian Priester, Bill Barron, Pepper Adams, Charles Coker, Sonny Clark, Jimmy Garrison, Philly Joe Jones. And Riverside does a number of titles like this where they have like a pretty big horn section. They'll have like 4 or 5 horn players, and they still solo in between the heads. So like, although it's like a number of people, it's really, just kind of head solo head style still. But it's great to hear them all together. They're awesome. So this is I think the first mono pressing.
Yeah. Wow.
Which is,
where'd you find that one?
I got this a while ago.
Yeah,
I think it just popped up on eBay for like a reasonable price. It's probably DG condition. Yeah, there's a couple more.
Mine's Japanese.
And there's spindle marks too. But
how did it play?
It's good. It plays fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, those old records, man. The old Prestige, the old Blue Notes, the old Riversides, they power through, man.
They can for sure.
Oh yeah. I got some old Blue Notes. I mean, they look like they've been through the ringer. It's no problem.
Yeah, it depends. But that's definitely very possible. Especially for like, yeah, I feel like I don't know. What do you think about that, Rob? In terms of condition of like old 50s pressings, if are they still
I have several records that look like a homeless man slept with them that sound good. It really, I don't know the science behind it, how they could take a beating and play well. But if you have
the groove wall, man.
If you have a good setup with like an ultrasonic cleaner, you have a nice turntable. I don't have a mono cart. I don't have a true mono switch, but usually, they do take a beating. If you can find them cheap, always pick them up.
I think it depends. I think it also depends on the session. So, like I have a 10-inch Irby Green record on Blue Note that I got for like $25, and the guy listed it. I forget what it was, but it was in great condition. I was like, $25. Let me just try it out, see if I can get lucky, maybe. And it sounds fine, except when like a bass solo comes in, then you could start hearing that noise. But for the rest of the song, it's totally enjoyable. So I think it just depends. Like if it's like a fiery ensemble where the noise floor is unnoticeable because of that. But if you have like the Bud Powell Trio record, you need that to be in a better condition because you will hear the imperfections in the vinyl.
Mike, what'd you do with Chris and Felipe? Did you disappear them to Louisiana or something?
They're right there in there.
Oh, okay.
Now, Felipe had plans with friends that are not us. And Chris is with family, so
okay,
it's
fair enough.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm actually okay. Let's go back to the poll. We're closing in on 60 votes.
Do we have
It is neck and neck, folks. I mean, we are talking just, a couple votes different here. 1955 is 43%. 1965 is 48%, but it's only 60 votes. So you can shift that with like 4 votes. So get in, because right now 65 through 75 is winning, and that's wrong. That's absolutely wrong.
You're going to lose this one, Mike.
I would go 45, 55. So I'm in the 2%. So
2%.
one person voted for 45, 55, but that's what I would
you know what? When the next year's Webbies, I'm hoping this poll will win worst poll.
If you think about the innovation that happens from 45 to 55, it's pretty great. Pretty awesome.
Yes, think about it.
55 to 65, yes, recording technology is like growing leaps and bounds in terms of the recording quality. But I guess 65, it gets pretty different too. But I don't know. I'm not sure.
Hey, by the way, this came in. I recommended everyone pick up this record, and I got my copy from Silver Platters in Seattle. This is a kick-ass record, people. Get it. This is
that the one that you ordered last week?
Yeah. It came after. I've always streamed this in my car. It was so good. It is 3 separate performances he did at Montreux from the early 80s to the mid 2000s. But this side D is just killer. It is so good.
All right. I'm going to just do one more thing. So we have 111 people watching right now. We have 65 votes in. Rob did a poll earlier this week on his live stream, and you got 400 votes, didn't you?
No.
I'm sorry, you got 100 votes, right?
Right.
So we need to match Rob. We have to match Rob. We need 35 more votes. We cannot have Rob win this.
You can't. Listen, I have a different crowd in the morning.
Come
It's
on,
more
push
poll,
it, folks.
I have poll people.
Get your vote in.
Stream.
Vote early and vote often.
Yes.
Come on, folks.
I attract the poll people.
We got to beat Rob here. So we'll keep going for another.
My poll was such a joke. It was a joke based on Mazzy calling Pink Floyd's The Wall a disco record. Yes, he did that.
Oh, yeah. What was the story with that?
I don't know how we got on the subject. Somehow we got on the subject of disco. And Mazzy claims that Pink Floyd The Wall, at least the song We Don't Need No Education, whatever, is a disco song. So the poll was yes or no. No one.
What would you say?
No technically won.
Would you say it's a disco song?
No, it has a dance beat to it, but there's the intent. Here's the intent. Okay. The intent. He claims one of the producers made a suggestion, but to me, disco is about people dancing at a place called a disco with sexually suggestive lyrics and dancing intent. That is not The Walls. That is not that song.
I think probably there's a little bit of truth in both, where it probably was just influenced by the popular music of the time, but not a full-out disco song.
Right, and it was a true hit song. It was a top 40 song, which Pink Floyd was not known for. But again, it's come on.
All right,
I'm all about.
Rob, you're gonna win. Unfortunately, we just have 68 votes. Come on, folks. Get those votes in. I don't want to end it just
I think the poll
70 votes. We got 70.
I actually think the poll was an act of desperation on your part.
All right,
we don't have a lot of people up here for the stream, so.
All right, so we got 71. People are trickling in. All right, so the question is his favorite jazz time period of those listed. So obviously you can go earlier in the 20th century, back to New Orleans and Chicago. In the teens and 20s and 30s. You have then, so what you can vote on is 45 to 55. Now 45 is when Bird comes out. So I feel like his innovation, I just have to have that. So 45, 55 is what I would pick. Plus there's just great music around that time period.
Did you list?
outside of that.
Did you list the modern times in the poll?
No. The next is the next is winning right now. It's 1955 to 1965. This is going to be your hardcore, like hard
I
bop.
don't feel.
This
I
is your hard bop.
kind of. Here's my feeling, and I'm not the smartest person when it comes to this.
Yeah.
Making that 10-year stretch. It's two halves of a decade that are not equal. I think.
Well, whatever. The polling methodology has been vetted.
No.
by
I mean,
experts.
if you're going to go, doesn't truly the style of the 50s start around 53 or 54, and
hard
then it
bop
kind of
starts
ends.
around.
Then it
53,
kind of ends
54.
around 57, doesn't it?
I feel like hard bop really gets into it Clifford Brown Max Roach, which is like 53, 54. But
And then it ends like 57.
Yeah, no, I
58.
don't think it ends. I don't think it ends.
Well, I mean, when did Coltrane start his lead Prestige records?
After he left Miles, which I think that's in 57 or 58.
I kind of feel like that's the end of that. It seems to me like it seems to me a lot of it started to change in 55. So a lot of records I've picked up that are from 1955, to me, that's when the change of the style of jazz started.
Also, the recording improvements on a lot of the records we buy in particular, like Rudy by 55 had, it just, the sound gets, like, you can listen to Rudy record that Bud Powell Volume 1, which I think is like 52. And the improvement in his recording from 52 to 55 is pretty significant.
Again, you're smarter than me, Alex, but I kind of feel if you're going 75, definitely 81, it changed for jazz, right? That's when jazz was more smooth and
but I mean, you could have different pockets of subgenres, and
I don't disagree. Look, more avant-garde and different jazz, it was there, but even like this Hemet Bluet record, it's him kind of being more mainstreamy, right? So I don't know.
But I think when you look at what's being reissued, right, by OJC and Blue Note, it's 55 to 65 almost exclusively. I mean, there's definitely stuff outside of that, but it's mostly, all that Prestige and Blue Note stuff is
but
right in that 2-year period.
Okay, how many white guys are in those reissues?
What do you mean?
Just like white guy jazz in the OJC reissues.
There's I don't know. There's Bill Evans. Did they do any Jerry? They did the Jerry Mulligan Monk.
Yeah, but it's Monk. I'm talking about like Bob Cooper and like those contemporary guys, those West Coast guys.
Yeah.
I
mean, the thing is, when you go to Prestige and you look at the Lee Konitz and Jerry Mulligans, Lenny Tristano, all those guys, that's like that. They're like reissuing older material. So like the sound on that isn't great. Like those aren't Hackensack sessions. They're like WOR and elsewhere. So
just yapping.
I mean,
all right, I need to wind it up. But hold on. Let's go back to the poll. All right. We have 77 votes. So that's pretty damn good, Rob. That's pretty damn good. You beat us.
When you have 110 people watching.
That is excellent. You got 100 votes, but you had like 170 people watching, or maybe even more. Your morning stream.
I think most of the people just hated Mazzy's take.
Can we just take a step back? Your morning
stream. There's no anger. There's no anger in your poll.
Oh, Chris, I gotta leave. I'm sorry. I gotta shut down the stream. What's up, man?
What's happening? Don't worry about it.
I was just joined a little earlier. But
I don't even know how you all do it. I just, my Fridays, like I don't even get back to the house until 10. So
we were just talking about.
I'm in LA, so it's not late here.
Right.
Rob's morning streams does big numbers, like.
But because there's nothing else
happening. Do you ever break 200?
I've broken 200 a few times. Usually it's about 150 to 180 something.
That's like yeah, that's really good. I'm trying to think who gets more than that. I think
there are live streams I don't know about VC live streams, but their live streams that definitely do better than that. Yeah.
I think Westman, depending if he gets like Hoffman on, I think those do like really big numbers.
Westman fluctuates with his time, but it's usually in the evening West Coast time. So
Right. Yeah, that's another factor. So what's up, Chris? Thanks for joining.
Yeah, I'm sorry I'm at the tail end, but I can at least wish everybody good night.
Yeah. Can you show one record just
Yeah, I
before
can
we
show one record.
sign off? And go vote, everybody. Get that vote in. We 22 and we beat Rob.
All right, so this is one I just got in. I've never owned a copy of this. So this is Ken McIntyre's Year of the Iron Sheep. This is on the United Artists label.
yeah.
And I think, Mike, did we confirm this is like a plastolate, right? I think it's a plastolate.
Yes. Yeah. Some of those, that's the United Artists, right?
Yes. So
Yeah.
you've got there's like a quintet format here, and there's a quartet format. The quintet format has John Lewis, not the piano player, but the trombone player, has Ahmad Abdul Malik, has Warren Smith on it, right? Who's like, Strata East guy, right? But the quartet format is maybe even more interesting because it's Jackie Byard, Ron Carter, Lewis Hayes, and Ben Riley. So couple of just killer lineups. And like I said, it's not like I've been ignoring it. I have Ken McIntyre stuff on like New Jazz and other stuff.
Well, I have the other United Artists record where he's with an orchestra. It's orchestrated.
Which
where
is
Oh yeah.
what is that? He's like sitting on the street or something.
I'll pull it up.
Yeah, I have that one. And I don't like orchestration behind it, but it's actually really good.
Interesting. I'm trying to remember what that is.
It is this one.
It's not that. I mean, I've seen it. This one.
Oh sure, yeah. Way out, yeah.
But also, Chris, his stuff on Steeplechase is excellent.
Yeah,
he Steeplechase stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
OJC's coming out too. The OJC's coming out.
That's Looking Ahead, right? The New Jazz one. Yeah. I'm looking forward to. I mean, I have an original of that, but I just for the sake of being able to hear great music and maybe better format, like I'm probably still going to buy it. So.
Yeah. I don't think I have it. Oh, I had Ken McIntyre's Inner City record.
It was a Steeplechase record.
Steeplechase, but it's not. I think it's of the ones he has. I think it might be the least desirable one. I think I sold it. Maybe. Sorry if you got that from me.
Yeah, him and like Horace Parlan. It's like you want everything that they did for those labels to be great, but
well, the Horace Parlan ones are good, enjoyable records. But here's a good comparison to make with Ken McIntyre, especially with those United Artists records, is Eric Dolphy. I think they're peers of each other. I mean, they're on the Ken McIntyre record. Yeah. But if you listen to the Chico Hamilton records on Warner Brothers, they're really Eric Dolphy records. To me, I don't have the one you just picked up, Chris, but the other one is they're playing the same. They're playing flute, and they're very similar at that time. That's my take.
Yeah, the same time period, and they're both doing they probably both played oboe and bass clarinet and all these kind of like instruments that no one else was messing with, right?
Yeah.
But Eric Dolphy hooked up with Mingus and stuff. I don't. Ken McIntyre, didn't he just go to Europe and said goodbye, America?
I think so. He was an educator, I think, for a while too, but I forgot. I forget.
Oh, we were just one last thing, and we do have to go. I think OJC should put this one out. Right? This would be a solid pick. I think they will. All right, we're shutting down the poll. We have 82. So I just want to say that if we actually look at the conversion rate, we have 115 watching, 82 votes. So our conversion rate is better than the Wax live stream. So thank you, everybody. We did beat him in different metrics.
But wait, there's a crossover. What era is disco in?
Oh, wait, hold on. So let me tell you what the results are. Okay. 1955 to 65 wins with over half, 52% of the 82 votes selected 55 through 65, which is not surprising, right? 65, 75 came in second, 38, 75, 85 came in third with just 6%. And then 45 through 55, my favorite, 10-year period in jazz. 4% came in last.
See, how I voted was what would Mike do? And then I was like,
Opposite.
another bucket. I can't let him win.
All right, guys.
Hey,
Thanks for joining.
I'll say
What's
another
up?
thing, Mike. I've noticed in the chat a lot of new people that I have not seen before. So,
Oh, well, everybody's welcome.
here's a perfect opportunity for you, Mike. Drop a link to the Discog server. All you new people that I'm recognizing,
Discord.
go over and join the Discogs.
Okay, I'll just do that very quickly. It's Discord. And
Discord. Discogs.
if you use that link, you'll be able to join. There's close to 800 people on there. There are a number of active people, pretty much just talking about jazz records, but the conversation can go all different places. So check it out there. And if you're another channel, feel free to drop your videos there as well. Everybody's welcome.
And I know I'm going to regret the suggestion. Is maybe you should move the poll over to the Discord.
Oh, maybe. I'll look into it. All right, guys. Talk to you all later. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
All right.